I am here with Brandon Bailey, the co-pitching coach of the Rancho Quakes. Thank you for joining me, Brandon. And so you've coached and played on many levels. What would you say is unique about this team and the players and the staff?
Yeah, I would say that just the camaraderie with the guys, it's a really tight-knit group. We're really young, which is really cool to see, winning the first half at, I think the average age we got is 21 and some change. Just a really talented group of players that are hungry to get better and, playing for a world championship organization like we are. They're so close to Dodger Stadium as it is. I feel like it's really easy to stay motivated and stay hungry and know what they're striving to achieve and accomplish, which is to get to the big leagues.
Is there something in particular that you would say that maybe surprised you about this particular team?
I honestly, probably the maturity. Like I said, kind of mentioned before, it's a young group. This even for the level, I think we're the youngest team in the California League. So just the guys, how they go about their business on the day-to-day. They're a very curious bunch. They ask really good questions. Like I said, they're hungry to get better. They're all striving to be the best that they can be. But just in terms of professionalism, they're always on time. They're always ready to work every single day that they show up to the ballpark. And those are things sometimes as a coach, especially a young coach like myself, I don't have to try and motivate them. They're already motivated by themselves and what they want to accomplish in their career. So I would say maturity is maybe the most surprising thing about this group.
Yeah, that probably goes back to the Dodgers drafting, good character guys, I would imagine, because it's unusual probably to have that maturity at that young of an age. So
yeah, 100%. Every single pitcher that we got on this staff, before anything else, they're just genuinely good human beings and young men that are respectful. They were brought up and raised the right way. Calling me yes sir and coach. I told them, hey guys, I'm just Bales. So it's a really, really good group of kids that and young men that just know how to carry themselves in the right way. There's obviously some growing pains as you're starting your professional baseball career, just kind of learning the lay of the land, but overall just a really, really good group of human beings.
How about the pitching staff in general? Did you anticipate early on that they would be as good as they've been?
I had an inclination just when I showed up for January skills camp, as well as watching some of the players that I had a hunch might be here in Rancho during spring training. I knew it was going to be an extremely talented group, very high skill sets, but maybe a little bit raw. And just the fact of the matter is, I think they have completely exceeded my expectation, my co-pitching coach, Ramon Tronco's, those expectations. And I think we're in a really, really good spot as we start the second half. There's obviously a lot of things that we can do to help these players get better. But for me, I think they've exceeded expectations tenfold.
So certain pitchers on your staff, can you give me some insight into some of the standout pitches that they throw? Like a really good fastball, really good curveball, cutter, etc.?
I think as a group, as a whole, I think we have probably the best raw stuff. In especially low A, and obviously I'm biased. I see these guys throw day in and day out. Obviously, I don't want to give away too much information on anything, just for trying to keep those types of things under the bill of our cap. Obviously, I think one thing that we take pride on is every single guy in this pitching staff throws hard. If you look at our average fastball velocity compared to the rest of the Cal League, we're first. That's something that we take a lot of pride in. I think it. Just at the end of the day, it's maybe not even trying to develop just some of the best raw stuff, is more so trying to teach these kids how to pitch. What do we prioritize? Trying to work ahead in the count, limit the free base runners and free passes that we allow. Trying to make sure that when we get to two strikes, we're making pitches that are pitcher friendly, things like that. But I think top to bottom, you could look at any single pitcher on this roster and you're going to see some standout stuff. Whether it's electric fastball or a wipeout slider or whatever it may be.
As far as you mentioned velocity, is that something that you've been able to increase for a lot of guys either through mechanics or conditioning? Would you say?
Yeah, I think as an organization, I think the Dodgers from head to toe, top to bottom, really, really good at what we do. I think we take pride in trying to be as holistic and cohesive unit as we can be, whether it's the athletic training staff, strength and conditioning, pitching department, whatnot. we're just striving to try and help the players get better, and if that means like trying to help improve their mechanics and their velocity, that's something we'll take a look at for sure.
There's been a really strong emphasis on spin rate these days too. It seems like that's the emphasis on that has increased through the years. Is that something you guys really focus on a lot too? Or?
I think just in the modern game, just kind of where we are with pitch tracking technology and things of that nature, I think that spin rate is definitely something anyone's going to take a look at, whether it's us or whether it's teams on the East Coast, West Coast, doesn't matter. I wouldn't say that's the end all be all for us. I definitely think it's something we consider, but there's so much more in helping a pitcher improve at their craft. But it's a bonus for sure. If you guys have a good spin rate.
Is there a pitcher who's really progressed this year that you can maybe highlight that kind of progressed beyond your expectations?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of guys. I take a look at like a guy like Sterling Paddock, local kid here, high school draft, pretty quiet and shy when I first met him in spring. Has really came out of his shell and has completely exceeded my expectations. He's a hard worker. He's coachable. He when you give him tidbits of things that we need to work on, he applies them instantaneously. He's always asking for constructive criticism and wanting to know how he can get better. So Sterling for sure. You look at another guy like Aiden Fuller, just a really good body, strong arm, lively fastball. But just the development work that he's been able to do on some of his secondary pitches has been really trending in the right direction. And I don't want to single out anybody, too many guys in particular, because every single guy on this pitching staff has gotten better since April 4th when we first started on this venture. But I would say those two guys in particular, the first two that would come to mind.
How often would you say at this level pitchers learn new pitches? Is that something that's typical, or is it kind of rare?
Yeah, I think it's something just kind of looking at where they are, where they're at when they arrive here. Some guys have a little bit more experience coming from the college game than some of the guys that maybe from Latin America or the high school realm. Every single player is different, and I think every single player is unique in their own way. I would say, adding a new pitch or maybe tweaking another, I think that's just part of the developmental process. Our job is to try and help every single one of these kids, give them the best opportunity to make it to the big leagues. So if we feel that pitch can be improved upon, we're definitely going to explore that.
It seems like some organizations tend to emphasize certain pitches, like say the split finger or whatever. I don't really see that particular pitch being a big emphasis in the Dodgers organization. Is there a pitch that you guys tend to emphasize more than any other?
I wouldn't say in particular. Like I said,
Okay.
It kind of goes back to the previous answer that I just had. It's every single guy is different.
Okay.
Every single guy moves different. They have a different throw. They have a different background and upbringing of how they pitch, how what is going to be the best and most efficient way for them to be successful on the mound. So no, I don't think we box ourselves into it's like every single guy needs to throw this pitch or this pitch type or this pitch variation. I think it's what is the best arsenal construction that's going to give this guy the highest likelihood of being a successful major league pitcher long term.
All right. Congrats on clinching the first half title. I know it was big for you guys. What are you most excited about for the second half?
Yeah, I just think it continues to just be development, trying to help these kids and these young men just improve at their overall craft. We still have a ton of room to improve as a pitching staff, and trying to help these guys move up in the Dodgers organization. It's tough, obviously, when you've got such talented upper level teams, like AAA, as well as like the major league team being like defending World Series champions. It's sometimes really tough to move up, but continuing to find ways to keep these guys motivated, keep them engaged, keep them focused on the North Star, which is ultimately trying to develop a skill set that's going to be successful at the major league level. So just trying to help the players improve.
All right, okay. Just to highlight a couple of pitchers, one that has been promoted, Sean Lignan. What do you think was the key to his success here?
I mean, he just got off to a hot start right out the chute. Sean Paul's just a strike thrower. At the end of the day, he's able to change speeds. He's able to command the fastball to all four quadrants of the strike zone. He understands, how to pitch with runners on base. He does a pretty good job of controlling the run game, and he's able to just put hitters in a situation where they're on the defensive, and I think that's pitching in a nutshell. And I really do think that he's got a really good chance to finish out this season in Double-A if he continues on the track that he's on.
Got to be gratifying to to be a part of those guys' success. Christian Sasueta is another one who's really seems like he's just been phenomenal this year.
Yeah, Zaz is incredible. You talk about a guy that just has pitchability, kind of like I was mentioning with Sean Paul. Zaz can just throw every single one of his pitches for strikes. I feel like he's very advanced, especially for the level that he's at. The kid just knows how to pitch, like change speeds, work the fastball, like I said, to all 4 quadrants. He's got really good understanding of like what his attack plan is versus righty versus left. Like a really, really great pickoff move. The sky's the limit for him, truly. I think he has all the talent in the world, and I really do think in a couple of years you very well could see him pitching in Dodger Stadium.
Sterling Paddock, you mentioned earlier, he seems to have taken great strides too this year so far.
Yeah, like I said kind of earlier in the interview, Sterling, when I first met him, was a very shy, kind of quiet and reserved kid. You could tell that, being in the professional game, it was a little bit, I don't want to say overwhelming, but just definitely like a little bit of a culture shock. I can only imagine coming from high school baseball locally, and then it's you're a part of the Los Angeles Dodgers organization. I'm sure that there was a lot of maybe pressure coming from that, from maybe some of his peers and like the local community. But man, you talk about a guy that has just matured and really developed into like a really outstanding left-handed pitching prospect. I know that it's easy to like just kind of like see the curveball for what it is right now, and to draw those comparisons to Clayton Kershaw. But I think Sterling Paddock at the end of the day is going to be an outstanding pitcher in professional baseball. I truly do. He's got above average pitchability. Like the fastball command is above average, especially for the age that he's at. Again, just really, really good feel for pitching, and I think he's only going to get better.
All right, thank you, Brandon. I appreciate your time, and congratulations again on your success with the team.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.